Hello there, this is me introducing you 10 significant events that happened during the 20th century. I might sound like I have personality disorders in the video, but it's just that I'm not working quite well with my audio equipment. After the First World War on June 28, 1919, the eponymous treaty was signed in the Palace of Versailles, located in Paris, France. The treaty was signed between the victorious Allies and Germany, denouncing the latter for causing the war. It held Germany responsible for territory loss, demanded limits for German military forces, and asked for 132 billion gold marks for the reparation. To solve the reparations, the German government, the Weimar Republic, decided to print gigantic amounts of cash to solve the debt, which led to hyperinflation of German marks between 1921 to 1924. The German currency lost its value, which led to mass unemployment, the dissolve of middle class earnings, and increasing doubt to the capacity of the government. Between November 8 to 9, 1923, at Munich, Germany, Adolf Hitler orchestrated a coup against the Weimar Republic in the attempt to gain political power. However, it did not go as well as Benito Mussolini's March on Rome, which Hitler was trying to imitate. Instead, leaders of the Nazi Party, including Hitler, was arrested and sent to prison. Although the coup was a failure, the attempt was ultimately a success for Hitler. The arrest gave Hitler and his ideals public exposure. During the trial, Hitler turned the court into his personal speech stage, and even the judge was moved by his nationalist thoughts. Instead of years of serving, Hitler stayed in jail for only about 8 months. Although Germany had lost World War I and signed the treaty, the general disbelief from German people that they actually lost the war inflicted a rumor that it was the Jewish people who betrayed Germany and made deals with the Allies. The universal jealousy of Jewish people's wealth also contributed to the anti-Semitism around Germany. On September 15, 1935, in the Nuremberg rallies, the Nazi government announced a set of laws that excluded Jewish people from German citizenship, but instead treated them as subjects. With this nefarious set of laws, the Nazi government was able to, without a proper trial, legally arrest and sentence any Jew-related person, foreshadowing the catastrophes Jewish people would face during the period until 1945. Being the leader of Nazi Party, Chancellor Adolf Hitler worried that there was an imminent coup against him by the SA, led by Ernst Röhm. Urged by Hermann Göring and Heinrich Himmler, Hitler ordered a purge between June 30th to July 2nd, 1934, to wipe out any possible political opponents across Germany, primarily Rome. The sudden purge shocked the public, but people just accepted it. The Hitler's unbelievable power put the whole Germany in fear, and so in favor of him. To the eastern part of the earth, World War II happened 2 years earlier. The full-scale invasion from Japan to all Chinese continents was ignited by a dispute between Japanese and Chinese troops in Peking, although later it was found out that Japan had already planned the invasion way back in 1931. The war was primarily between the Chinese Communists, Chinese nationalists, and Emperor of Japan, as the least being the primary enemy of the former two. China was supported by the Allies while Japan aligned with the Axis powers. The Chinese nationalists and communists had a total of approximately 10,600,000 military casualties. The Japanese had approximately 700,000 military casualties. Immeasurable non-combatants were murdered and resources were looted. Tragedies occurred during the war, such as the Nanking Massacre, resulted in Chinese people's national hatred toward Japan many years after the war. As severe as the anti-Semitism got among Nazi Germany, the first mass assault outburst on November 9, 1938. It was claimed to be a spontaneous public anger toward Jews because a 17-year Polish Jew, Urgell Greenspan, shot Ernest von Rack, a German embassy official stationed in Paris. In 2 days, almost all properties on the land of Germany, annexed Austria, and some areas of southern land in Czechoslovakia that belonged to Jewish people were looted and damaged. The name, literally Knight of Crystal, is a reference to the broken glass on the street after the violence. This event marked the first mass anti-Semitic assault that was allowed by Nazi government, putting Jewish people in constant fear and causing mass immigration of Jews from Germany to US and the surrounding continents. As Hitler invaded Poland on September 1, 1939, the French and British Empire declared war against Germany on September 3, 1939, causing a chain effect involving multiple nations similar to World War I, marking the beginning of the largest war in history. Virtually, there were conflicts in every part of the world, while the two major forces being the Allies, including France, Great Britain, the Soviet Union, and China, and the Axis powers, including Germany, Italy, and Japan. The US stayed neutral until Japan attacked Pearl Harbor, Hawaii on December 7, 1941. The war lasted for 6 years and officially ended on September 2, 1945. The Second World War led to a total casualty of 70 to 85 million people. The war effort practiced by the Allies and the Axis powers caused great economic destruction and resource loss to both, and the releasing of atomic bombs from the United States that ended World War II increased the tension between the US and the Soviet Union. The Holocaust was a systematic murder of Jewish people that intensified on January 30, 1941, ended on May 8, 1945. Earlier on January 30, 1933, Hitler had already been building concentration camps for the undesired, not only Jewish people, but also the ones with different sexual orientations, black skin, or any trait that Hitler considered as an impurity. Jewish race was the Hitler's primary target to exterminate due to the zealous anti-Semitism among the Nazi Germany. Jewish people were captured and sent to camps from all European continents occupied by the Germany, and inside they would work, starve, be tortured to death. The Holocaust caused more than 6 million deaths of Jewish people, and countless who were related. This event is considered one of the most outrageous war crimes in the history. Nuremberg trials of 1945 to 1946 was held afterwards to examine and punish the culprits of the Holocaust. The last major battle of World War II was fought in Berlin, Germany, between April 16th to May 2nd, 1945. After bombing the city for days, the Soviet army penetrated German army's defense and captured their capital. The capture of Berlin marked the end of Adolf Hitler and his party, as Hitler committed suicide with several high-class officers in his villa bunker. After 5 days on May 7, 1945, the German army unconditionally surrendered. Although the defeat of Japan was already determined, the invasion of Japan promised to be the bloodiest seaborne attack of all time, conceivably 10 times as costly as the Normandy invasion in terms of Allies' casualties. To avoid further casualties, the United States decided to deploy the atomic bomb, which was successfully tested in the New Mexico desert on July 16, 1945. Before the bombing, the US, China, and Great Britain issued an ultimatum, threshold of annihilation if otherwise, to Japan for the latter's unconditional surrender. However, Japan responded with mokusatsu, later translated as no comment, to atomic bombs, Little Boy on August 6th and Fat Man on August 9, 1945, each after a refusal to surrender, dropped in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, Japan. The Japanese government surrendered on September 2, 1945. 20,000 soldiers and approximately 126,000 civilians were killed in Hiroshima. Approximately 80,000 civilians were killed in Nagasaki. The radioactive particle released in air also directly or indirectly caused countless injuries and deaths. The two cities couldn't recover financially and physically for several years before rebuilding. However, instead of hostilizing the United States, the permanent atmosphere in Hiroshima after rebuilding is anti-war and rest-seeking. Experiencing the most terrifying consequence of war, Japan has perhaps seen the importance of peace more than anyone else.